As we approach the holiday season, the age-old question comes to mind for Christians. Should Christians celebrate Christmas, or is it a pagan holiday that true Christians should avoid? Today we're going to be discovering all that and more on this episode of Swords of Truth. Now, I celebrate Christmas, but besides that biased piece of information, let's look at some arguments against Christians celebrating Christmas, and maybe some arguments for Christians celebrating Christmas, and then we'll see an ultimate conclusion is if Christians should celebrate Christmas or they should avoid it. There are four main arguments against Christianity, and we're going to look into all of them and see if they have any real relevance. Now, first of all, there is the argument that Christianity comes from pagan practices. Now, many items used in Christmas are admittedly pagan, such as bells, candles, holly, and other decorations. These are mentioned in pagan practices throughout history. However, using these items in Christmas decorating does not mean we are returning to paganism or celebrating paganism. In fact, many traditions are linked to the true meaning of Christmas, and that is the birth of Christ. Now, these traditions are bells, that's to ring out the good news that Christ has been born. There's candles, that Jesus is the light of the world, found in John 1:14. The star on Christmas trees, if you guys do Christmas trees, which we'll be looking on later in the episode. But anyway, there's stars on Christmas trees. That is for the Star of Bethlehem and how the star paved the way for the wise men to be able to go see Jesus. And there's also gifts that we give at Christmas. Those are what the wise men gave to Jesus. The wise men gave gifts, and of course, God gave Jesus as a gift, so, Jesus is the gift of the world. In addition, to my knowledge, these pagan practices are not actually practiced anymore on Christmas. So, in the name of paganism, there's no witches going around ringing bells and putting holly up and celebrating Christmas that way. Not to my knowledge, but I'm pretty sure no one does that anymore. So, this is what separates Halloween from Christmas. Pagans don't celebrate their pagan practices on Christmas. Well, the pagans who celebrate Halloween still do. To witches and other people involved in Satanism, Halloween is their biggest ceremony of the year. So, Halloween is still celebrated by those kind of people. Meanwhile, Christmas is no longer celebrated as a pagan holiday. It's celebrated by the world as, an excuse for presents, and it's celebrated by Christians as Jesus coming into the earth. So this is why, just because Christmas did have some pagan origins, it doesn't mean that we should avoid Christmas because of these origins. Now, for the second argument, there are some people who would say the Bible is against Christmas trees. And, I kind of laughed when I first heard this argument because I had never heard it before, and turns out it's just people taking the Bible out of context. Kind of like our charismatic friends do. So yeah, people take this passage out of context. It's Jeremiah 10:3-4, so let's read it now. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold, they fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. At first glance, this could be enough to turn someone who doesn't know their Bible to being extremely against Christmas trees. However, just a little bit deeper look into context shows us that Jeremiah is talking about idols, graven images. Now, Christmas trees, I don't think, and if you worship Christmas tree as a god, you let me know, but I don't think Christmas trees are idols anymore. Now, we know that idols are anything that goes above God. So if you are putting your Christmas tree above God, why? Just don't do that. Anyway, but that can go with anything in life. Anything in life that you put above God is an idol. But anyway, Christmas trees are really not idols, and the Bible does not condemn Christmas trees. This verse is talking about idols. So, guys, stop taking the Bible out of context. Just read it. For those of you against Christmas trees, stop taking the Bible out of context, and we'll talk later, okay? Anyway, number 3, the Bible doesn't tell us when Christ is born. Now, there are numerous historical sources, taxes, all that stuff that can give us clues, but there's really no way to be sure when Jesus was actually born. So some people can take this as, so if we don't know when Jesus is born, we shouldn't be celebrating Christmas because Christmas says, oh, Jesus was born here. So yes, we don't know when Jesus was born. Some people may have different ideas and different theories on the fact, but the truth of the matter is we really don't know when Christ was born. However, just because we celebrate Christmas does not mean we're propagating a lie that Christ was born on December 25th. Because he probably wasn't born on December 25th, but it's really the setting aside of the time to celebrate his birth that comes into play here. We may not know, but we're just saying, hey, let's celebrate December 25th as when Christ was born, even though he didn't technically get born there. I mean, maybe he did. You can ask God when you get to heaven. Anyway, some people see this as a reason not to celebrate Christmas. However, it's just really not. Like, you should be celebrating Christ every month and every day of the year. Christmas is just set aside to specifically worship him and celebrate his first coming. That was the third reason why some people can make the case that Christmas is unbiblical and we should not do it. The fourth and pretty much final reason I can find, in case it's still open to anyone in the comments. But anyway, the fourth reason is because the world celebrates it. I mean, the world celebrates Christmas and things like that. And does this mean we shouldn't celebrate Christmas? Well, actually, this is why many of the cults, such as JWs and possibly Mormons, they say that because the world celebrates Christmas, we are not going to celebrate that, which is a poor reason at best. But anyway, if your reason is that the world celebrates it, I mean, good for you, but this is actually the best time to tell others about Christ, because, like, Christmas, it's in the name, Christmas. So anyway, this is a perfect time to tell others the gospel, spread the good news of Christ. I know Ray Comfort does a lot of videos on his channel where he uses Christmas evangelism, and, you know, people are, I don't know, it's easier to bring up the topic because Christmas is on people's mind, you know? So in conclusion to the fourth argument, Christmas is just a really good time to tell others about Christ, and just because the world celebrates it doesn't mean it's evil for Christians to celebrate it. Now, this isn't an argument, but we need to do a segment on Santa Claus, because a lot of people don't like Santa Claus. I mean, there's some people out there who says Santa can be rearranged into Satan and all that junk and stuff, but it's just not true. Santa means saint in Spanish, and Santa Claus is actually referring to a man called Saint Nicholas. He was a Christian elder around the time of the 3rd or 4th I get my centuries mixed up, but he was an elder around the time of the 3rd or 4th century. And there's this one guy on YouTube who I watched, who I might put in the description, what's his name? Pastor Scott Ingram. Yeah, I watched his video on it, and he gives a lot more detailed response to St. Nicholas and the history behind that, but I'll just give you a brief history. And during the Council of Nicaea, which was, around the 3rd or 4th century, he actually hit a dude named Arius because he was spreading the heresy that Jesus was not God. So this guy cared about God, and he got in trouble for that. So anyway, and the tradition of Santa Claus came because he was known for throwing bags of money into people's houses at night. And the reason he did it at night was to avoid recognition. So that's kind of how we got into, like, the tradition of Santa Claus today. Now, of course, watch Pastor Scott Ingram's video in the description. He gives you a lot better description and history of how Santa Claus came to be. That being said, I don't really think it's a good idea for parents to, like, lie to their kids about Santa and say this guy is going to come down the chimney at night and give us all presents. So, like, we shouldn't lie about that. Like, 1 Peter 3:10 talks about, like, don't lie to your kids. Like, you should be speaking the truth. Now, I don't think it's too bad if you want to do, like, Santa-related activities, like making a list, like, sitting on the mall Santa's lap. I don't know if anyone does that anymore. But making lists, hanging stockings, cookies, and all that stuff like that, like, just make sure they know it's pretend. And yeah, definitely make sure to, like, tell your kids about the backstory to Santa Claus, about St. Nicholas and how he was a Christian who loved Christ and didn't put up with heresy. To our conclusion, should Christians celebrate Christmas, or is it just too rooted in paganism? Throughout the video, you guys probably have known and brought up that, yeah, Christians can celebrate Christmas. Now, it is up to the individual Christian to decide if they want to celebrate Christmas or not. However, don't think you're any more spiritual if you don't celebrate Christmas, or if you do celebrate Christmas. Like, the Bible literally gives no command to celebrate Christmas, or no command not to celebrate Christmas. And there's really no good arguments not to. I mean, unless you want to join the JWs or Mormons over there, there's not really a good reason to. If there is a younger Christian who's maybe having a harder time reconciling the pagan traditions of the past, you definitely don't want to make them stumble. And in a case like Romans 14:20 through 21, definitely, if it's going to make a younger Christian stumble, you might want to avoid some of that. However, and of course, traditions should not be what we celebrate at Christmas. We shouldn't do things just for the sake of celebrating tradition, and we shouldn't put our traditions above Christ. Our focus should definitely be on Christmas and upon the true meaning of Christmas, and that is Christ. So, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like, comment if you have any disagreements, comments, concerns, anything like that. If you guys like this video and want to see more videos talking about the Bible and the truth found within it, make sure to subscribe and share with anyone who you think might benefit or be edified from this type of content. Thank you all. Have a very Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year as well, and have a blessed day.